March 8, 2014. A quiet, humid midnight at Kuala Lumpur International Airport. 227 passengers and 12 crew members line up to board Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. Young couples, families, and world-class engineers, all heading to Beijing. In the cockpit sits Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, a veteran pilot with over 18,000 flying hours. Next to him is First Officer Farik Abdul Hamid, just 27 years old, flying his first major Boeing 777 at exactly 12:41 a.m. The massive Boeing 777 lifts off into the night sky. The weather is absolutely perfect, the sky is clear, and the autopilot is engaged. For the first 39 minutes, everything is completely routine, a textbook flight. At 1:19 a.m., the plane reaches the edge of Malaysian airspace over the South China Sea. Malaysian ATC radios the cockpit. "Good night, Malaysia 370. Captain Zahari presses his radio button and replies with total calmness. "Good night, Malaysian 370. Those would be the last words ever heard from the plane. Just 2 minutes later, at 1:21 a.m., the plane approaches the handover point to Vietnamese airspace. Suddenly, the plane's transponder, the electronic device that broadcasts its location, is turned off. On the radar screens in Vietnam, the bright green blip of MH370 instantly vanishes. Air traffic controllers in Kuala Lumpur think Vietnam has them on radar. Vietnam thinks Malaysia still has them. Because of this bureaucratic confusion, no one realizes a massive jet is missing for nearly 20 minutes. Simultaneously, the plane's ACARS system, which sends health data back to the airline, is manually disabled. This wasn't a technical failure. Someone in that cockpit deliberately went completely dark. Flight MH370 had just become a ghost in the sky. While civilian radars were completely blind, secret military primary radars were still watching. What the military radar captured shocked the investigators to their core. Right after going dark, MH370 made a sharp, aggressive bank to the left. It completely reversed its course, heading back toward Malaysia. The plane flew directly over the city of Penang, the hometown of Captain Zahari. Some experts believe the pilot was taking one final, tragic look at his home. Then, the ghost plane flew over the Malacca Strait, avoiding the borders of neighboring countries. It was navigating perfectly along established commercial aviation waypoints. This proved that whoever was flying the plane knew exactly how to hide from military eyes. At 2:22 a.m., the plane flew beyond the reach of the last military radar, heading into the vast Indian Ocean. For hours, the world thought the plane had crashed in the South China Sea. But a British satellite company named Inmarsat noticed something incredible. Even though the radios were off, a satellite terminal on the plane was still powered on. A cinematic shot of a satellite floating in space, sending a beam of light down toward Earth. And every hour, for 7 hours, the plane automatically pinged back. The plane was still alive, flying through the dark long after it was reported missing. By analyzing the time delay of these pings, scientists calculated 7 concentric rings on Earth. The final ping occurred at 8:19 a.m., matching the exact time the plane would have run out of fuel. The data pointed to a terrifying conclusion. The plane flew south, into the loneliest place on Earth. No islands, no land, just miles of dark, crushing water. How did 238 people stay completely silent while the plane flew off course for 7 hours? Why didn't anyone make a phone call, send a text, or try to break into the cockpit? The most widely accepted theory by aviation experts is terrifying: hypoxia. Soon after the U-turn, someone in the cockpit likely pulled a switch to depressurize the entire cabin. Instantly, yellow oxygen masks dropped from the ceiling above the sleeping passengers. But those masks are designed to provide oxygen for only 12 to 15 minutes. At 35,000 feet, once those 15 minutes ended, the air became thin and deadly. Within seconds, the passengers would feel dizzy, lose consciousness, and slip into a permanent sleep. The entire cabin became a flying tomb, completely silent except for the roar of the engines. Only one man remained awake, breathing from an independent pilot oxygen supply that lasts for hours. When the FBI raided Captain Zahari's house, they found a professional flight simulator in his basement. Deleted data recovered from his hard drives revealed a chilling discovery. Just weeks before the flight, Zahari had simulated a path deep into the southern Indian Ocean. The simulated flight ended exactly where MH370 ran out of fuel. Was this a meticulously planned mass murder-suicide by a troubled pilot? Friends claimed his marriage was failing, and he was suffering from deep clinical depression. But why kill 238 innocent people just to end your own life? Some argue he did it to execute the perfect crime, leaving a mystery no one could ever solve. Others refuse to believe a man who loved flying so much could commit such a horrific act. But the simulator data remains the most damning piece of evidence in the entire case. But there is another theory, one that clears the captain of any sinister intentions. In its cargo hold, MH370 was carrying 440 pounds of highly flammable lithium-ion batteries. Some experts believe a catastrophic electrical fire erupted beneath the passengers' feet. Thick, toxic smoke would have rushed through the air vents, filling the cockpit within seconds. The pilots would have frantically turned off electronic systems to isolate the fire. This explains why the transponder and communications went dead at the exact same time. The captain turned the plane left to head toward the nearest safe airport in Malaysia. But before they could land, the toxic fumes overwhelmed the pilots, knocking them unconscious. With everyone dead or unconscious, the plane's autopilot kept it flying straight for hours. A massive mechanical zombie, flying on autopilot until its tanks were dry. For years, the largest maritime search in history took place in the southern Indian Ocean. High-tech sonar scanned over 46,000 square miles of the ocean floor. They found ancient shipwrecks, deep underwater volcanoes, and valleys deeper than the Grand Canyon. But they found absolutely zero traces of Malaysia Flight 370. No black boxes, no seats, no luggage. The ocean had swallowed it whole. At those depths, the pressure is enough to crush a human body like a tin can. If the plane crashed at high speed, it would have shattered into millions of microscopic pieces. The search was officially called off in January 2017, leaving families heartbroken. It was as if the Boeing 777 had flown directly out of our reality. Millions of dollars spent, yet the ocean floor kept its greatest secret. Just when the world was about to lose hope, the ocean started giving up clues. In July 2015, a beach cleaner on the remote island of Reunion found a strange piece of metal. It was a flaperon, a critical wing part belonging uniquely to a Boeing 777. Serial numbers stamped inside the metal confirmed it. This was a piece of MH370. Over the next few years, more than 30 pieces of debris washed up on the shores of East Africa. Pieces of the engine cowling, passenger cabin panels, and even personal bags were recovered. Marine scientists analyzed the barnacles growing on the debris to track where they came from. The ocean currents proved the satellite data was 100% correct. The plane did crash in the south. One piece of the wing flap showed heavy damage, suggesting it was extended manually. This meant someone was actively piloting the plane until the very final second, driving it into the water. Today, Flight MH370 remains the greatest aviation mystery of the modern era. A 250-ton state-of-the-art aircraft does not just disappear without a trace. New technology called Whisper, which tracks aircraft by radio disruptions, claims to have found a new crash location. There are whispers of a new search operation launching soon, aiming to find the final resting place. Until those black boxes are recovered from the pitch-black abyss, we will never know the absolute truth. Was it a heroic struggle against fire, or a cold, calculated act of madness by the captain? 239 souls are still waiting for answers, buried deep in the silent currents of the Indian Ocean. Their families still look to the skies, holding on to memories of a flight that never landed. What do you believe happened inside the cockpit of MH370 during those? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to Midnight Files for more investigations. Good night.